We're going to jump into kind of body composition and why just looking at the scale is just very surface level. And so looking at things like our InBody, which we did initially, DEXA is a lot more accurate as well. What they actually mean, how to leverage that and use real clarity data to map out your timeline, map out your roadmap, where we need to adjust, where we need to change. Everybody's body and health is different as we age, as we change, whether it's stress, emotional, it all plays into body composition as well. So what we're going to cover today is actually how to read these scans, how to optimize muscle mass targets for your body type, when to go into a fat loss cut, when is it, better to build or reverse diet, and what those realistic timelines look like when you look at your data. Okay. So here we have subject A, subject B. Okay, let's just use a woman A, woman B. They're both 145 pounds, right? So they jump on the scale, they're both 145. But when you look at their body scan, the two main metrics you want to look at is lean mass, and then you want to look at body fat. Okay, so woman A has 95 pounds of lean mass, woman B has 112 pounds of lean mass. And then if you look at their body fat percentage, woman B has 23% body fat, woman A has 34% body fat. So very simple math. You take your body fat in pounds divided by your total weight. That's how you get body fat percentage. Now, the most important thing we all want to do is look good, right? We want to look good, have that energy, have that toned look. So even though both of these women are 145 pounds, on the left side, she has the more of the skinny fat look, slower metabolism, can't really hold a cut, right? I'm using a woman as an example, but even for guys as well, you lose a lot of weight because what are the typical ways to lose weight? You start eating salads, you start eating just super lean, you cut out carbs, you do a lot of cardio, okay? You jump into CrossFit, you jump into things like Orange Theory, you burn a lot of calories, but you're also teaching your body to burn that body fat or burn muscle because when you're cutting your calories hard and you are not strength training, that combination tells your body, hey, let's get rid of muscle. Muscle is a very expensive tissue. Your body just doesn't want to build muscle. You have to give it a reason to. You have to, one, be in a surplus of nutrients. Two, you have to send the right signals, right? And so if you don't do those two signals, you will lose a lot of weight because I am having a conversation with a lot of people coming to me and they're using Ozempic, GLP-1s, right? And so they're just looking at the number on the scale. And that's the reason I have a problem with doctors and clinics just throwing these GLP-1s out is because everyone's just looking at the number on the scale. But when I have my clients step on and get their body fat scan, most of that weight, at least 60% of that weight loss is muscle. And so now they're in a position where not only are they have the skinny fat look, but now they're lethargic. Now their metabolism is so slow that if they jump off the drug, they're kind of digging themselves into a hole because building muscle is hard and it gets harder as you age. At 30, the studies show that muscle mass starts to drop 68% by default when you hit 30. And so why would you put yourself in a position to lose that precious muscle, right? We're all trying to build muscle here, okay? So person B here, they're a lot leaner, they're defined, they're energetic, they could eat 2,500 calories and maintain. That loss becomes easy from here, okay? Any questions so far? I'm curious if you guys have any thoughts, takeaways, like have you heard of anyone that's kind of in these positions?
No, I'm good on my end. Thank you.
So this is to kind of just show you guys a snapshot why weight doesn't matter and why it's so important to kind of build that lean mass first. Okay. Now, this is how to read your scan. Like I said, there's four numbers that you need to look at. Skeletal muscle mass, that's SMM, that's the actual muscle mass on your frame. For most of the clients that I work with who come to me, they're under muscle. So everyone comes to me thinking that they need to lose body fat, right? They need to lose weight, they need to cut weight. But when we get these scans, more often than not, they're just under muscled. For example, I've spent the last 10 years of my training career just building muscle. I like to always communicate like just investing, right? Like the goal is to have financial freedom, to live off passive income. But in order to even get to that position, you have to do a lot of work in the front end to build that up, right? And I like to kind of communicate building muscle the same way. And so the target for that is to try to get 45 to 55% of your total body weight to be lean mass, muscle mass. So let's just do a quick math for you guys. Okay. Drop in the chat or just you can just say it out loud. How much lean, muscle mass do you need for your body at this current weight for Bob and for Vicky?
I'm thinking 115, 120.
And do you know where your current muscle mass is? Do you have your scan up?
I don't have my scan in front of me.
Well, that's something for us to dive into. So at least you kind of have an understanding. Wow,
Yeah.
I'm this far off. So that's why I'm asking you. I don't want to just
Yeah.
tell you the answer because I want to say. So for Vicky, what about for you? What is that target optimal muscle mass for you
It looks
at
like I
this?
need to be at 57
Yeah,
pounds.
yeah.
Like if I kind of be looking at 45% of my current weight. So
For you, it's going to be around 40, 45%. For men, for Bob in this example, is going to be closer to 50, 55%. Okay. So that was the first metric. Second metric is body fat percentage. Okay. This is really important because body fat percentage doesn't just say the body fat that we have externally, but also visceral body fat as well. This is why I always encourage my clients to get the body spec scanned because it tells visceral fat. Visceral fat is the fat around your organs. Now, the higher this metric is, this is the indicator of things like heart disease, hypertension, right? All of these inflammatory diseases is predicated on visceral fat. In order to reduce visceral fat, it doesn't just come down to macros or calorie, it's also your food quality. That's why I'm very big on getting in fiber, getting in 3 servings of fruits a day because it is going to affect your visceral fat. That's just for longevity. So, as far as body fat percentage, what's optimal for women is going to be around 22 to 28%. That's where your hormones are going to be optimal, energy is good, things are functioning properly. For guys, is going to be around sub 20%. Okay, sub 20% is going to be optimal. Now, Bob, do you know where your body fat percentage is at right now?
What if I grab my phone?
Okay.
I think it's like 26.5 or something like that.
So we have around 10% of body fat plus to cut down. Number three here, lean body mass. The main point I want to say is that we never want to sacrifice lean body mass to just drop the scale. And this is where most people fuck up is because they're so caught up in trying to lose weight that they don't realize that they're losing lean body mass as well. Okay. And so this is the main goal that I have for all of my clients when we're in a fat loss deficit, a caloric deficit, is how do we maximize losing just body fat and maintaining as much muscle? Now, you're going to lose a little bit of muscle, but the goal is to try to keep as much of it during that phase. What's also cool with the body spec scan is that it can show your muscle distributed between your legs, your arms. So any imbalances there, that's when with your workout program, we can program certain movements to kind of fix that and optimize that. For example, Bob, in your program, we're doing a lot of core stuff that you're not lifting that much weight right now in foundational phase, but it's going to help with your sciatica long term. So the scan also helps me give me a little bit more data points when it comes to programming your guys' workouts. Cool. Any thoughts, questions so far? Now let's take an example for what optimal looks like. Okay. Now the word I use often is optimal because when you guys go to the doctor and you get your blood work done, you get your cortisol check, doctors are not operating in ranges of optimal because there's a healthy range, but you can be in the healthy range and still feel like shit and not look good in the mirror. Okay. What we're all going for is optimal. That's why you guys are here on this program, jumping on a Sunday call with me, is because you guys want optimal. Okay. So everything that we do around here is how do we get to that optimal range to set ourselves up for long-term success? Now, this is a target for a 35 to 40-year-old woman, but it kind of translates to all of us here. An optimal zone for someone who's 5'2", 35 to 40-year-old, the scale says around, let's say 130 average. Their muscle mass is around 47 to 52 pounds, body fat percentage 22 to 26%. Their lean mass is around 98 to 105 pounds. This is the target before we enter a fat loss phase. This tells me as a coach that they built muscle, they're at a healthy range, they're at an optimal range, and then now we can actually go into a body fat kind of phase. Now, body fat phases, what we call cuts, are usually around 12 to 16 weeks. And a cut should be fairly easy. It should be fairly simple. And you shouldn't be starving on a cut if you are in the optimal zone to do a weight loss cut. It's because you set your metabolism and you set your muscle mass up to an optimal range where in a cut, you honestly just pull back your calories, you pick up your movement a little bit. And the fact that you have that muscle mass, it's going to burn those calories 24/7. Okay. So that's how I know someone is in the optimal range. And for you, Vicky, that's kind of what I'm going to be diving in with you is how do we get you to that optimal zone before I'm like, okay, cool. I have confidence that we can jump into a cut. Person number two, so right in the middle here. Okay, let's say they're 5'2", their weight is the same. They're 125, 135 pounds, but their muscle mass is around 36 to 40 pounds. So their body fat percentage, when they get their scan, they're upwards to 38% body fat. So although this person wants to lose weight, and yes, they have some weddings coming up, vacations, they're going to Cabo in a couple months, are like, Dustin, I really want to cut. Give me the 90-day plan. Cut me right now. I'm like, hold up. Let's get your scan first. If she is at 30 to 38% body fat, she is not ready to cut. Yes, we can lose 10 pounds here. If all I did was just crank up the intensity and cut her calories, she will lose some weight, but she's going to also crash her metabolism. She's going to lose even more muscle. And it's going to be very hard to hold those results when you're eating 900 to 1,000 calories. You feel like shit and you lose that motivation because you're done with your short-term vacation goal. So now I'd be doing a disservice to my clients if I'm just putting them in a cut without communicating them to look at the bigger picture. Okay. Person on the right here, another person who's optimal zone, 140, 155 pounds. Look at their body fat percentage, 24 to 28% body fat, and they have decent muscle mass as well. So they have that muscle base to protect their metabolism during a cut. Okay. So the main question is, why do we need to build first? I kind of hit on this point, but these are the main four reasons why, right? I'm all about speed. I would love to get to the results a lot faster, but I also want to do it properly. I've been in this game for 10 years, and for the first year of my coaching career, I kind of put everyone through a cut because that's what they came to me for. Now that I have a lot more experience, I've been through this process multiple times. This is why we built first. So muscle is your metabolism. Okay. Every pound of muscle that you put on your body, you're burning 3 times more calories at rest. So the more muscle you have, you're burning calories 24/7. Even as we're sitting here, you're sleeping, that is when your body is burning body fat. So the more muscle you have, the more easier it is to lose body fat versus jumping on a treadmill and trying to do it manually. Okay. So it's always more advantageous to build that muscle first, let that do its work. Okay. Let it run on kind of automatic. Muscle also protects your results. Most clients, most people who lose weight regain it. People don't have a weight loss problem. They have a keeping it off problem because they just have no muscle mass to sustain that result. Cutting without muscle mass, you just lose a lot of weight, puts you in a bad position. So that's why we get these in-body scans to tell us the foundation here. Cool. Any thoughts here? Any takeaways so far?
No, it makes a lot of sense. It's not the scale, it's there's a lot of other factors to look at. I may gain weight before I start cutting weight, and I'm okay with that as long as it's all those metrics that you look at.
There's good weight, and a lot of people are afraid to gain good weight is because they don't really understand what's underneath. So this is the VP Fit roadmap. This is basically kind of like what the process that I put all of our clients through. Of course, everyone's a little different. So kind of week 1 to 2 is kind of know your numbers, set our targets, get a good foundation. If you are ready for a cut, then we would go into a cut. But for most people who come to me, right, they're in a position where they need to build that foundation. So that foundation phase can take anywhere from 3 to 9+ months. I've worked with clients who have come to me who've done this yo-yo cycling where they're under eating, crash dieting. They've done it so much that they crash their metabolism that sometimes it takes 8 to 12 months to rebuild and resensitize that, which is why, Bob, you probably feel like, holy shit, so hard for me to eat this breakfast of 50 to 60 grams of protein. We're kind of retraining the body there, which is not bad. You're going to feel a lot of benefits in just the first 4 weeks already, but it's going to take some time. And this is where most people don't have enough patience to stay in a building phase. They might do the building phase, but without a good coach in a month or 2 months, they're like, oh my God, I'm gaining weight. I think it's time for a cut. And they're in this limbo. And so you really need to commit to the process and a roadmap of understanding, all right, cool. I know this process is going to take 9 months. I'm going to commit to it, but I understand that there's an intention and there's a goal at the end of it. Okay. Step number three, we rescan every 8 to 12 weeks. Okay. This is where we get your body scans. It's also you getting your blood work, checking your hormones, making sure everything is progressing in that way. So that way we can make adjustments. And then after you get that point to an optimal zone, then we can enter in a fat loss cut. This is where we just kind of melt off that body fat. And it's very simple. There's two levers when it comes to losing body fat. You pull back your calories or you increase movement. There's just those two levers. Once you do those two levers, then you're going to lose around a pound a week. Okay. So this is the timeline. Truth, I kind of just went through this real quick, but yeah, just to run this through again, the 3 to 6 months, right? This is where you first build your habits, build consistency, understand how much protein you need to eat. This is where you're building muscle, especially if you're somewhat coming back to training again or you're a newbie. This is where you can really leverage that 6 months to build a lot of muscle and burn body fat. So for you, Bob, for example, you're coming back to being on a good program. It's great for us to leverage the next 6 months to build muscle and burn body fat at the same time because you're just getting healthier overall. So yeah, that's kind of the timeline. Like I said, this is the thing I always tell my clients. Whatever timeline you think is needed to hit your goal, just double that. So if you think it's going to take 6 months, just tell yourself 12 months. If you think it's going to take 12 months, give yourself 2 years. Okay. All right. Now I just wanted to screenshot some body scans of some of our clients who we're working with. So this is Ami. Ami is a 42-year-old nurse mom. She was actually very athletic in the past. She was doing runs, the Spartan races and whatnot, but she started working full time. She's a nurse case manager, is a mom as well. She started losing her energy. She wanted to kind of get back to it. So she joined us around April. So hopefully you guys can see it, but her body fat percentage is at 36%. Total mass, she's 162, and her fat mass is at 58 pounds, lean mass at 97.6 pounds. Okay. Now she just got her test recently done in March. So March 27th. So that's around a month. So 4 weeks in. First of all, if all she did was look at her weight, she's at 161. So if all she did was look at her scale, she's like, Dustin, 4 weeks into the program, I'm doing all this work. My weight is the same. Hold up. This is why we get this scan. Okay. So March is underneath, April is after. So look at where her fat mass is at. She was at 61.7 pounds of body fat. In 4 weeks, now she's at 58 pounds of body fat. So she's down 3 to 4 pounds of body fat, which is actually right, like that's optimal, losing 1 pound of body fat a week. But she also built 4 pounds of muscle in that time frame. So what happened is that she lost 3 to 4 pounds of body fat, put on 4 pounds of muscle. That's what we call the Goldilocks zone. And what's crazy is that Ami isn't even working out 4 or 5 times a week. We only have her 2 times a week. She's training at home with some resistance bands, some dumbbells, cleaned up her diet, got her back on a good schedule, and she's already seen this progress in 4 weeks. So it's really amazing that you don't have to do balls to the walls training. You have to look at your whole lifestyle holistically, mindset, right? Your nutrition, your training. Once you kind of tweak a little bit all of that, they all play together and now you get results like this. Now, for someone who's not working with a coach, they think that they're not doing enough work. So what are they going to do? They're going to ramp up their cardio and they're going to cut back on their calories. That's probably the worst thing that Ami can do. So instead, we're actually ramping up her calories a little bit and just keeping the same routine and just continue to progressively overload. And she's going to ride this wave for another 3 months and put her in the best position. Whether she wants to cut, she can travel. Now she has 2,500 calories buffer to enjoy Mother's Day brunch today and not gain weight. Okay. Some other key points I want to call out too. Visceral fat here on the bottom left side. She's in optimal range. We want to continue getting that to the green zone. That's where we kind of focus on food quality there. Her bone density drops once we hit 30, 35. This naturally drops. And this is the biggest reason why, as people get into their later years, they get hurt, they get injured, is because they don't have bone density, right? And so that's where strength training comes in, protein intake, right? All the supplements that you guys are taking, we're optimizing that as well. Okay. One more to show you guys. This is another client of mine, Monica. Monica was a nurse too. And this is a cool result because I coached her through her pregnancy journey. So she came to us having a hard time getting pregnant, was going through a lot of IVF, high stress lifestyle. She actually just had her baby a couple months ago. What a blessing it is. It's Mother's Day, right? And so what's really cool is that she got her scan on May 4th, 2025. This was right before we started. And then she got her second scan really recently. And what's really cool is even though she went through the whole pregnancy journey, and this is where a lot of women lose a ton of muscle mass, they call it atrophy, right? She actually put on net 4 to 5 pounds of more muscle post pregnancy than she was before. And what's crazy is that she actually had a C-section. Her nurse told her that, wow, you have ab muscles. Like I've never seen any mom with ab muscles, through her pregnancy. Her energy is good now. She's back on a routine. She's going back to work. Whereas most moms who come off pregnancy need triple, double the time to even get back into the routine. And it's because we built so much muscle in the past year that now she has something that she can lean on. So that's why muscle is like insurance. The more we build, the more it's going to protect us, not just from a vanity standpoint, but from a health, longevity, and wellness standpoint as well. Okay. So now with Monica, we are getting back into her strength training. Her body fat percentage is fairly high, but that's okay. We're going to continue to build lean mass. So her lean mass here is in that middle range. We want to get it into the green zone and just kind of focus on that for the next 6 to 8 months. So just to summarize here, this is how we use your guys' scans, how you guys should be looking at your scans as well. Get your baseline scan. And I always recommend getting your scans every month. So every like 5 weeks is a good standpoint. That way you can actually have some data to see. If you get it every week, you're not going to see much changes. Set a target. Give yourself a target. I know that my body fat percentage here, I want to get my body fat percentage here. Do I need to build muscle? How much muscle do I need to build? How much body fat do I have to lose? Once you understand that, then we just kind of reverse engineer and break out what that timeline looks like. And then we just execute. Okay. That's step 3. And then we rescan and reassess. Okay. And that's kind of the process that we go. Cool. I would love to hear your guys' takeaways. Maybe Bob, you can go first, and then Vicky, I would love to hear just one thing you guys learned or are thinking about.
No, I think it makes sense. You can't just look at the number on the scale as weight. And I think that the real challenge is to be realistic too, kind of to what your point is. It's a journey and it's going to take probably a little longer than you want if you want to do it the right way.
That's correct. Great point. What about you, Vicky? What's your takeaway?
I have a little bit of regrets of not doing this when I first started the program, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely going to get the scan before we do the fat loss phase
Yeah.
because it took me a long time to recover my metabolism. It was pretty awful.
Yeah.
So even with eating more, I've already lost 10 pounds since starting the program. I'm
That's good.
actually holding at 127 forever, which I'm really annoyed about. But I think I probably would be less frustrated with that scale number if I actually had a DEX scan and see the
Mm-hmm.
trade-off between fat and I'm assuming I have muscle gain. I'm pretty sure I do because I do like hit my PR
Yeah.
for some of the workouts and I am needing new weight. So I know I'm getting stronger, but I'm not seeing in the scale. So for me, my first action is definitely going to get that DEX scan. Maybe the question is InBody or DEX scan. Is there a difference? I'm not quite sure. You list both. So is there a
Yes.
preference for another?
So the DEXA is going to be way more accurate than the InBody. That's the
Okay.
one where it's around like $40 a scan, but it's absolutely worth it. I'll send you a link after. It's really quick. There's a lot of test centers. You just pay, you go there, takes less than 2 minutes, and then you get a PDF result, just like the ones I showed with you guys here on these last couple of screens. It just looks like this. And you just send that over to me, and then it keeps all your record every time you get your scan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. That'll be kind of interesting to see what that looks like and if I'm ready for my fat loss phase.
And that's why I wanted to do this training is because I know a lot of clients, I'm gonna send this to everybody else, but it's everyone's like, oh, why would I get a scan? You get clarity. The more clarity you have, the more you're gonna want to really hit your goals. So cool. Alrighty. So yeah, like the takeaway here is kind of to Bob's point, right? Your body is going to be a long-term project. It's going to be the most important project you're going to work on, right? So it's not going to be fast. It takes time to build a Ferrari. It doesn't take as much time to build a Prius, right? Or Corolla. So yeah, trust the process, trust the timeline. And I'm really glad you guys jump on to really learn. I really respect when clients show up, want to learn, want to get better, and it's a journey. So cool. Alrighty. Anything else I can wrap you guys up with? Alrighty. Well, that's all I had for you guys today. Happy Mother's Day Sunday. I'm going to run these calls every Sunday. Whatever topic you guys are thinking about, throw it over to me. I usually throw it up. We do mindset, nutrition, training. Sometimes I bring on experts that I have in my network to kind of like educate us. But yeah, keep continuing to jump on these calls. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you. Bye. Have a
Alrighty.
good one.
Thanks a
See ya.
lot.
Yep.